we do have WesBank here. We've got Gaoaketse, who is the head of marketing and comms at WesBank, who's going to give us a sense of the trends that they've seen as an organization and the consumer patterns that have come as a result. Lebo, thank you very much for joining us. Let's start with the impact that a potential 50 basis point is set to have on the consumer this afternoon when the SARB makes its announcement.
Thanks, Ropiwa. There's no doubt that it will have a direct impact on vehicle cost, but more importantly, the total cost of ownership, because in there sits your car installment, your maintenance and service costs, comprehensive insurance, but fuel as well. And vehicles account for about 46% of that and fuel 35% of that. So an announcement like this really dents, a deeper hole in the consumer's pocket at a macro level. So you and I kind of like level, but at a macro level, it really has a negative impact on the industry as well, because in as far as new car sales are concerned, we were getting to levels where we were normalizing. I mean, for the past 2 years, we've seen a year-on-year growth. But if you think about it, it's not growth as such. It's normalizing to pre-COVID levels. Again, an announcement like this means that there will be a slowdown in that increase in sort of new vehicle sales. What does that mean for the consumer? It means that they will hold on, to their cars much longer because of the uncertainty. We are seeing that consumers are applying for these cars. We are seeing them in applications because those are increasing month on month. So that appetite is still there, but their purse is stretched. Do you buy food? The petrol is going to increase, like we know. And if I've got a new car and I want to jump onto the next one, you really, really consider quite carefully if that's the decision that you want to make, if you're contending with quite a lot. Right now, you think of the power supplies that we've got, slowed down production, increased inflation, as I've said earlier on. A recipe for a recession, very undesirable position for us to be in as consumers, let alone what's happening in Ukraine, which speaks to a weakening currency at this point in time. So there's quite a lot of moving parts, and for our industry, people are inclined to think twice before jumping onto a new car.
Yeah, it's interesting you say the applications are still coming in for new vehicles or perhaps even used vehicles. But what are you seeing in terms of repossessions and customers tending to default on some of their monthly payments?
Our book, surprisingly, because we really go to great lengths to help our customers, our repossessions have not increased. We are more flexible because, if truth be told, if a customer's car is repossessed, it's unfavorable to them and to us. Very gunky process to be in. So in as far as WesBank is concerned, we are not seeing an increase in repossessions, only as a subset of our assistance to our customers, longer term, more flexibility when it comes to repayments, because we really want you to stay in that car for as long as you possibly can, given where we are operating currently macroeconomically. So that flexibility is really applied.
Yeah, and do you find that that's going to be a sustained flexibility, that moving room that you give to consumers? Because at this point, it's like asking how long is a piece of string, how long are we going to see these difficult times? So as WesBank, how do you foresee that alleviation of the pressure for your customer base?
It will definitely be lengthened. And there's other sort of factors that will help consumers right now in South Africa. If you think of, people are moving from your high-end luxury vehicles, they're downgrading, not necessarily to entry-level vehicles, but there's models that have upped the ante. You think of brands from the East, for instance, when it comes to tech, they've improved their tech, and their pricing point is accessible. So what we're also seeing, consumers accessing those vehicles that are much more affordable and palatable to their pocket, if I can put it that way. So the assistance, yes, will be lengthened, but there's other options. So you can jump into a car that's marginally cheaper, not a German luxury car, of course, but at a pricing point, it's more accessible. It's got all the techs, the bells and whistles, and it does speak to your need as somebody who would have driven a very high-end, sort of expensive luxury vehicle.
Yeah, are you seeing that though, that people are still pushing the boundaries and getting their dream BMW, Mercedes-Benz or Audi? Are those applications still coming through?
Absolutely. those won't stop, you know. For a South African consumer, a car is a point of pride to a great extent. Yes, they're not applying for those high-end luxury vehicles at a rate that they would outside the cycle, of course, but those applications are definitely coming through. It's a point of pride. It's convenience. It's, you know, I've worked hard and I really love my car and I cannot skimp. You know, so we are seeing those. They're still coming through, definitely, but more leaning towards your middle segment and your entry-level vehicles, especially for people who are coming new into the cycle, like your graduates and your young professionals.
Yeah, are you finding that young professionals have got that appetite to get into the industry in terms of buying a vehicle and the like, or is it still a bit of an older market that's a little bit comfortable with the current state of affairs?
Fortunately for us as WesBank, we do have a different sort of a scoring and rating system for young professionals and graduates. And I would urge anyone to, check it out on our website, where we offer a specific assistance. We don't look at them the same way as we do an ordinary person who works, because we understand that this is their first job. You may not have the credit history, you know, you may not have proven that you can keep up with credit. So we're not going to look for that from you. We are also flexible in terms of the deposits and all of those sort of factors that go into financing a vehicle. So we try to get them into a vehicle, because for some of them, if you are in logistics management or supply chain management, when and as you hit that job on your first day, you do need a vehicle. So we've got a program or option, if I can put it that way, that helps our graduates and young professionals.
Yeah. Please just help us with the misconception that with the higher interest rates, your car installment is going to go up, of course. But as interest rates go down, it will remain at that elevated level, or will it go down with the interest rates? Tell us about those product offerings and how exactly those would work.
Now, it mainly is a factor of whether you're on a linked rate, which is a substantial part of our financed customers across South Africa are on a linked rate. So it will move. If the rate goes up, your installment will go up, and if it goes down, and so it will follow. If you're on a fixed rate, you'll pay that rate as standard.
And then just as a final thought, you work quite closely within the industry and you engage consumers, I'm sure. What would you say the outlook is, at least the medium-term outlook for the current environment for the industry, and really just an uptick, perhaps not to pre-2019 levels, but to levels where we are comfortable and we can actually breathe as consumers while purchasing these big-ticket items?
Look, I'm not sure about breathing, but I do anticipate another 50 bips increase. Given where the state of the economy is, the weakening currency, we've got a finance calculator at WesBank. So when you are getting into that new vehicle, use that finance calculator to check your affordability so that you know what you're getting yourself into. About 2 weeks ago, we released our total cost of ownership numbers, which is something that we monitor quite closely, because we are mindful that it's not only about the installment, as I said, it's the petrol price, it's the interest rate hikes, it's your insurance and your maintenance costs. So we try to share that information with consumers to impact them to make the right sort of decisions.
Thank you so much, Lebo, for those insights.